Chapter 10. My new school classmate Yura. Life is fun. There was an incorrigible D student in a parallel class, and now he runs his carpentry workshop, and his business was good and he was happy. I was not doing outstandingly well at school, but against a background of many, I have amounted to something. But I'm not here for that. Now I would like to write about Yura, the classmate, who immediately drew my attention when I came to that class. It was 7th grade when I came. He drew my attention not because he was a good student. There were quite a few of them at least as good as him in this class. Not because he was discussing with friends the cryptozoology mysteries or yet another Arthur C. Clarke product reminding me of Andre from my previous school, but because of his excessive arrogance to all those who were welcome to the circle of his few friends. And he could not stand me from the very first day. He was doing good at all exact science such as math and physics. It all came natural to him, and he had no sympathy for his less successful classmates. I remember he once was approached by Sergei, one of the youngs I wrote further down in this book about, to complain him about the physics teacher ferocity for putting him an F for not being able to tell her about a steam turbine operation, and Yura sharply whipped out at him. How could you not tell her that? You even didn't have to read the textbook to get it. All you had to do was just follow the poster arrows. That's it. In the 7th grade, he was interested in radio. I remember his heated discussions on then fashionable sound and light show installation circuit solutions with the same advanced radio lovers from the senior classes. His radio hobby had turned to the hard rock passion in 8th grade, and then through rock music and Western pop culture to the West admiration with his inherent teenage black and white thinking. I'll get later back to this. He didn't engage much in sport activities. He went to the pool, and I think that was his father, one of the Urban Youth Academy prominent coaches. That must have forced him into that. But he was wearing the coolest blue jeans, my Soviet teenage unfulfilled dream. And I remember how the whole class went to his apartment to take a look and listen at his huge open-reel tape recorder, Rostov 102. What about LP discs? A mere mortal in the USSR didn't know that there were LP discs labels except the Soviet government's melody records. That was at Yura's I may have first seen these Polydor record discs. And the first porn magazines, not those faded black and white photocopies, but the real ones with glossy Swedish pornography in them. I also must have seen at Yura's. By the 10th grade, he became interested in copying pictures for his slideshows from those magazines. By this time, he was obsessed with sex. He was a progressive guy in our class. By the way, here's what I remembered. Once at Kislovod's Honey Waterfalls Valley, where we were having a picnic with a group of girls, I separated from the rest of the class and most importantly from our class teacher. The girls wanted to smoke cigarettes. We smoked and took pictures. The pictures turned out to be great. The girl several times borrowed my negative film to have more pictures printed. And that film once nearly got to the teacher's table. It would have been killer stuff, and the way I wouldn't go to give it to the teacher. The intrigued chemistry lady teacher sensed that there must be something, and she strongly determined to take it away from me. Fuck no. And the whole class got breathless. What the hell is in there? Was the question in the air. I burned the negative at the first recess, and Yura kept prying into the secrets. What was in there anyway? Oh, we were just sitting nude, jokingly blurted Sweta, my new table mate, just to get him off our backs. Fuck me was the impression Yura had on his face. I knew what was exactly running on his mind. He was freaking out at this, although he fought hard not to show it. He even muttered something like, "What a big deal." There was nothing more than the girls posing with cigarettes in their hands. But if our school teachers had those pictures in their hands, they would have made really good mincemeat out of those girls. Meanwhile, Yura's school performance was steadily declining along with his violent dissident behavior growth. He was the only non-Komsomol organization member of our class, and even once he asked around for the Komsomol badge to pin it to his sorry ass. There no longer was Stalin-style socialism, but fooling around with things like these was still dangerous. Now he had become our school teacher's headache. He even managed to run a small porn slideshow at our prom disco. Perhaps these guys were quick on their uptakes when the school teachers got drunk enough not to notice or pay much attention to it. And don't forget, it was only 1982. I saw Yura a few times after we finished high school. Once, when I was working as an excavating operator assistant, when we were digging up a leaking sewer. He was passing me by so fashionably dressed up, he didn't say hello to me, of course. I was hoping, however, that he had not recognized me like that. Well, I saw him a couple more times. For the last time, we said hello, and I was surprised to see him smoking. I heard he went to the university, and then he had either dropped out or got himself kicked out. There were talks about him being on drugs. And then I saw him 3 times after 20 years. For the first time at a small class reunion barbecue party. He looked remarkably well, especially for a guy allegedly being on drugs. I felt his respect this time. The respect of a person whose favor I desperately tried to earn so hard once. The second time I saw him when we drank with Oleg, the sea captain on vacation. Yura was just after his work. He laid tiles for the living, and I could still see his unwashed paint marks on his hands. For the third time I ran across him in the street. He was on his way to work. He was unshaven, wearing worn-out overalls. He crossed a street to shake hands with me and said that I looked like a real Yankee. Took my phone number, saving it in his 2002 cheap Motorola phone, and he left me without saying goodbye. He stayed Yura all right. He called me a couple of times to have 1 or 2, but I, under various pretexts, gave him a wide berth. I was never interested in drinking for the sake of drinking. Not with him anyway. 9 years after that, when I started dating the most beautiful classmate girl, Irka, Yura, who once liked her so much that he wanted to sit with her at the desk, and when he was denied by the teacher, he shared his desk with nobody else and he stayed all by himself. Was jealous, I saw it. He kept calling us with Irka a sweet couple at our Jubilee class reunion party we had. At the party, Yura called my Irka the prettiest girl in our class, which, by the way, pissed off our other girls. And I agreed with him. Yura always had good taste.